talking about the World Baseball Classic game last night. Pre-show, we may get into that too at some point as well. But as always, Philip, mid-March means a lot going on. We talked about this last week. Spring practice also begins in a couple days. So Wednesday we'll talk spring storylines to watch. But it's that time of year where there's really not enough hours in the day as a sports fan to make it all count, because we're truly in overlap season, chaos season, madness season. It's a fun week to be a sports fan.
Dude, it is, man. This is Merry Christmas, baby. It is here. March Madness is here. I do have one gripe about March Madness. The North Carolina school system says that you get an exempt absence if you take off a religious holiday. My mom checked me out of school many times for me to practice my 2 holidays on Thursday and Friday of the religion of college basketball, and I was never exempt of any of those absences. Here at IBX Media, I was told I cannot count it as a religious holiday. I believe that both of these actions are both unconstitutional, that I believe that I do have a legit religion of college basketball. We have our own anthem called One Shining Moment, and I think my First Amendment rights are not being exercised correctly by the state of North Carolina.
Those are all fair points. And I have the same gripes with the Monday following Super Bowl Sunday. I feel like that should be a national holiday as well. I will say credit to Pitt County schools, as this week is spring break for
there you go.
All the high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. My kids who go to daycare, Covenant, and they apply by the same rules. So, hey, we got the kids at home all week. Shout out to my mom and dad for watching them some this week. But they will get to see all the tournament action. I'm getting Slater, my 4-year-old son, to fill out his first bracket later today. We'll see how it goes. And my question is, do I encourage him on what teams to take, or should I just give him the names and let him pick based off the names? Because he clearly doesn't know enough about these teams to make educated picks.
Isaiah, you're saying no, you don't. No, Isaiah says don't give him anything. He has to earn it. He's got to earn a good bracket. So I think
at least like 116, I want to get him going in the right direction.
Yeah, maybe do that. Maybe at least I know the records don't always, because there's teams like Miami of Ohio, obviously they're in a playing game, but like maybe you tell them the records. Maybe you at least just be like, hey, so and so's got this many wins. The other team's got this many wins, and maybe you do that, and then you just kind of let him pick based off that, which I know is not going to be a foolproof system, but it is guiding him, but it's not holding his hand.
Right. I think I'll find that happy medium. Scott Lorbatcher in the chat says, let him pick the teams based off the mascots. That would be entertaining, if nothing else. You may get some crazy picks.
Yeah, Scott, that sounds like something that somebody's wife does. Scott, has your wife done that? Because I know I've met many friends like, oh, my girlfriend or my wife, it's picked it based off the mascots.
My wife, Erica, huge fan of Gonzaga just because of their name. She always picks Gonzaga to win the championship. And every year I'm like, this is a terrible pick. They always choke. But one year, maybe she'll be right. Maybe this is the year. But she's a huge fan of the Zags.
Isaiah says BYU is going to beat them in the second round. It doesn't matter.
They probably will this year. Although will BYU get past Texas/NC State? That the old playing game is tough. So we'll get more into our graphic picks or bracket picks as he's going horns down and Wolfpack down. Philip, if you're watching our YouTube stream, is all right. ECU baseball again. We'll talk to Cliff Godwin in our next segment. I know a lot of people want to know injury updates on Colby Weber, Jack Herring. We asked Cliff, just a little bit of a spoiler. There's no updates. They got to get the MRI or whatever testing done, imaging done, and then they'll have more information later this week. Obviously, did not look good for Colby Weber on Sunday. And this we'll get more into the injuries in our third segment. We're going to break down kind of where the team goes. I'm just, again, having trouble, Philip, like trying to diagnose this baseball team. And it's just been a weird start to the year. I mean, all things considered, you go 4-1 this week. You should be happy with that. Now, I mean, realistically, I think most people expected them to sweep Penn. They're an Ivy League team, came in with 2 wins. I do think, I'm not trying to make excuses here, I do think they are better than their record shows. They opened against A&M and a very good Mercer team, lost all 6 of those games. Now, 2 or 3 were very close. They can pitch a little bit, but still, I think people are disappointed with Saturday's showing. And it just kind of, like, I just don't I feel like nobody has left a week this year feeling really fulfilled or like just overall happy with this ECU baseball team. And I still think they have potential. We can get into that, but it's just been like it's just been choppy is the best way I can describe it, because there's just for every good moment or good moments, 2 or 3 big wins in a row like we saw this week, there seems to be kind of a step back and then a couple steps forward and then a step back. And I don't know, it's just been weird, Philip. And this was another week where we saw more of that.
I'll be honest with you. I was more upset yesterday than I was Saturday. And now the Weber thing did throw yesterday into a kink. You know, Moran, obviously, we knew he was just going to come in and face 3 batters. I mean, he's never done that short of a warm-up in his career. I mean, dating back to 9, 10-year-old ball. But I think Saturday they just got beat. I think Penn was better. They had their approach. It didn't work. I know it's tough to say, but, like, it's the truth. Yesterday, to me, I don't know, man. It just, something didn't feel right in the ballpark. I mean, you tied it at 5. You should have went ahead and won it then. Then they take the 7-5 lead. I mean, yesterday just drug. There was no flow to the game. They didn't look like, I don't know, man. Now, credit to their grit. They fought back twice. I mean, it shows the character of the team. It shows what the team can do when their back's against the wall. So I think it's a win you actually build on moving forward. But that, to me, was uglier. Like, that kid on Saturday just beat him. And, like, sometimes you get a guy's best. That's the best game he's going to throw all year. It's just like that Queens game that they almost lost, where I know you have the name imprinted in your brain of that pitcher through 120-some-odd pitches. Daniel Bagwell. Like, that was a Daniel Bagwell type deal, man. Like, you lost. You got beat by a good pitcher. So, like I said, I'm not as upset about Saturday. But yesterday, again, I'm happy their backs were against the wall. But yesterday, I don't know, man. It still shows that they don't maybe quite have it figured out, but hey, man, great teams find ways to win ugly.
And I think winning that game could prove to be vital, because if you find a way to lose that game, I'm not saying the season's over, but it feels like I would have been pushing the panic button. I mean, you lose a home series to Penn, and like you can say it's kind of sad it even came down to having to hit a walk-off, but like there is something to just finding a way to win. So many great ECU baseball teams over the years they don't play well, but then at home, they just find a way. They will themselves to victory. And like this was the first time they've done this at home in a long time. Maybe last year, like on occasion, but it felt like every home game last year where they just played sloppy, had a chance to rally, walk it off, like we saw against Xavier earlier this year, didn't get it done. We've seen it a few other times this year in close games. Didn't get it done. Even Saturday, you had a chance, and you didn't make the play in the ninth to get the bunt down. And so I do think that was a step, hopefully for the guys in the dugout, to believe, all right, even if we don't play our best, we're at home, the crowd gets into it, we can find a way to win. And so I'm hoping that propels them, because I just feel like that home magic, Phillip, hasn't been there really since the start of last season. And ECU's got to find a way to get that back, because you're not going to play your best every game. And I do think they got to find a way to start winning more of these types of games.
They do. And because, look, there's going to be tough games in the tournament, and you're going to have to win tough games. Any team who's ever won a national championship in any sport always looks back, and they're like, man, that one play, that one shot, that one this, and that one game, right? So you got to find a way to do it. I think there's a lot of questions. We're going to get to it in segment 3 based off just, we're going to be kind of hypothetical with it and go worst case scenario. But I don't know, man. The great thing is they're deep. And CG talks about it in his post-game press conference. He's going to talk about it here with us. Like, the depth of this team and how many guys have played, like, shows, there's been past teams, past the starting 9, it's just like, whew. But, I mean, Michael Clinch has got 2 pinch hit home runs in the last 9 days. Like, you've got stuff like that. So, I don't know, but they're still missing something. They haven't quite figured out how to make it click. But, hey, you know what? Season starts Friday. That's when it really matters, conference play. So, if you go out there and you get it figured out between now and Friday, all is forgotten.
Some chats here, some comments from the chat, I should say. Kenny Curlin says, 4 and weak, not perfect, but not too bad. Hate we wasted such a good pitching game on Saturday. Yeah, Gavin Van Kempen, again, I guess they're just allergic to scoring when he is on the mound. I mean, just absolutely dominant. and he's now struck out 43 against 5 walks in 26 innings and 160 batting average against. So he's been phenomenal. I will ask Cliff, do they consider flipping him and Ethan Norby? We'll have that answer on the other side when we get to that interview. Scott Lorbatcher in the chat says, it's just another decent week. ECU doesn't have truly bad losses, but they have too many losses. And I have to agree, like 12-8-1, it just doesn't sound good, doesn't sound pretty. I still think that Xavier series, that Campbell loss, like those are the ones you're looking back on, because I even said, we had this conversation, Philip, when they were 3-4-1. And I said you had 14 games before UAB on March 20th. And I said the Pirates needed to go at least 10-4 over the next 14 to get in a decent spot. Well, to this point, they are 9-4 over those games. If they win against Elon, they will have gone 10-4 over those 14 games. And I think if you could take away the start to the season, which obviously you can't, but if you can take away all of that and just say, hey, ECU's 10-4 over a 14-game span, you would take it. Is it perfect given the schedule? No, because the schedule has lightened, but I do feel like they are at least improving and heading in the right direction. And I don't know, I wonder if, too much damage has been done with the early losses to really feel great without just going on some huge run here. But I guess it's just they've kind of dug themselves a little bit of a hole when it comes to really, being in at-large or hosting territory. They can obviously still get there with the American looking better, but the fact is they've had some early weaknesses that have been exposed, and they're in the spot, and they really have nobody to blame but themselves, and now they're going to have to dig out of it the last part of the season, or the last 2/3 of the season, I should say.
Yeah, I think the host thing's definitely an uphill climb. I don't know if at-large really is an uphill climb. I think, you still got State, you still got Duke. Duke's not great, but they're still an ACC school. UAB's been playing well. South Florida. UTSA had a rough week this weekend, losing a series to UT Arlington, but still really good program. Charlotte's solid. Like, the conference is good enough that if you go out there and you win the regular season or even finish second if you're a game or two behind UTSA, I think you feel good about an at-large. I think this is going to be a 2-3 bid league. I think they're in a fine spot for that. I mean, you can't go out there and, do what you did last year in league play, obviously, but I think the opportunities are there. Now, hosting, that's going to be a heck of an uphill climb, but hey, the only thing better than playing in front of a ruckus crowd that you amp up is playing in front of a silent ballpark that was ruckus when the game started and you shut them up.
And there are still things that I really like about this team. Again, we'll get into the injury situation, but it's just like even Saturday's game, you strike out 17, you walk 0. You find a way to lose. You just look at ECU on the season, the Pirates have K'd, well over an inning or well over a strikeout per inning, 203 strikeouts in 172.2 innings against 60 walks. I mean, that's an outstanding ratio. Offensively, they're hitting .312 as a team. They still have more freebies than strikeouts, and it's just the power isn't there, and that's what's hurting them. But I don't know. I still like the metrics of this team. I still like the pieces, and I think they can do damage in the right scenario. But obviously, health is a concern at this point, which we'll get into. And it just feels like they just can't get out of their own way sometimes when it comes to building momentum. But I'll tell you what, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll visit with Cliff Godwin. We'll get his take on the 4-1 week, his thoughts, an emotional week for Cliff, speaking at Rabbit Fulgham's funeral prior to Saturday's game as well, his old Green Central head coach. So let's talk about that, the week that was, and a whole lot more on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted
Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Colors. It's time for our Monday chat. Head coach Cliff Godwin joining us. As always, appreciate his time on the show. First off, Coach, welcome back. Secondly, 4-1 week for your team, close to 5-0, and then obviously it came down to the wire on Saturday and Sunday, but you guys ended up winning the series over Penn. So as we always do, we'll just kind of start your overall thoughts on a busy week, 5-game week for the Pirates.
Well, of course, it started out really good. We played really good on Tuesday and Wednesday. A 5-game week can be tricky, especially with pitching, and we 10-run rule 2 games, and of course, you don't have to stretch your pitching, and then Friday goes pretty seamless, and then Saturday, a lot going on. I had to do one of the probably top 3 hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, and do the eulogy for Coach Fulgham. And I say that because Coach Fulgham wanted me to speak, and he could have gotten a lot of other people to speak that were way better players that played for him. But for some reason, he wanted me to speak, and man, that was hard. It was really hard. And like I said, it's one of the top 3 hardest things I've had to do. And then got to the game, right around stretch before batting practice, and we just didn't show up offensively, and it was tough. It was hard. Saturday was a hard day. And yesterday got challenged a lot from Colby Weber going down in the 3rd inning, Jack Herring going down. Just really proud of the resilience our team showed, and I thought Ethan Rose was tremendous, there in those middle innings. He gave us, some time to get our feet back underneath us offensively. I thought Davin Whitaker was awesome. A lot of big at-bats. Davin, before he hit the 2-run homer, we're going to play defense, and he touched Carlos, and he said, "Hey, man, you and I next inning," and Carlos got hit by a pitch, and Davin hit the home run. So it was really cool. And then, of course, we give up the lead, and then we were able to tie it back up and go to extra innings. And, man, we Houdini'd our way out of a couple of tough jams, and Tolick pitched in the clutch, and we made some good plays defensively. And Mike came off the bench and gave us a big spark. So walk-off home run. So it's good for us to kind of go back and forth and just have to struggle to win, because this team to this point, we hadn't done that. And it's good for every team to experience that. So I'm happy for our guys.
Yeah, I was going to ask, Coach, just winning in that fashion, I know you got asked about it after the game, but like you guys said, you've had some big wins, had some tough losses, but making those plays in the clutch, even when things are kind of teetering and getting that big swing, like confidence-wise, a lot of those guys in those moments for maybe the first time in their careers, how much can they grow from that?
They can grow a lot from it if they lean into it, because, at that time you're thinking about a lot of guys on the field that probably haven't been in that moment before, not at East Carolina at least. So, Matt Lashley having to make some tough plays defensively late in the game, and Tolik, which we were kind of trying not to have him in that situation at the end of the game, just because he hasn't really pitched competitively in college in 3 years because of his injuries, and just to allow him to be out there when the game's not on the line. Well, of course, the way God had it was like, well, that's the best option you have down there in the bullpen, so we need to bring him in. And so we were laughing about that after game, because we literally had told him after the Coastal game, hey, we're just not going to put you in those situations anymore, because you need to just get out there and get comfortable just navigating pitching in college again. And then all of a sudden we're calling him out there in a tie game. So we laughed about that after the game. It was pretty funny.
I was going to ask about it and too, just you see the stuff when he's executing his pitches. I mean, it's pretty elite. So just how much is he improving every outing? Because I know he had the wild pitches, he has some things to get away from him, but the stuff is there. So like, how high is his ceiling if it all comes together, if he keeps stacking days?
Oh man, his ceiling's super high, and he's still navigating. His hip still bothers him in some capacity. I think depending on the day and the weather, sometimes it depends on if it's feeling a little bit better or not. But I think every time out there, he's going to become more comfortable, and he's going to be sharper with his pitches. But he's got really good stuff, as you guys can see.
Cliff Godwin with us on a Monday with our Monday chat. Visiting us as always, as he always does. Michael Kalinic, just the second time, Coach, he's come up with a big pinch hit home run. And I said, dating back to the fall and the offseason, like he was hitting the ball much better, and it just had not translated to games early in the season. What progress has he made, and then how much of a jump do you feel like he guys can bring or a boost to your lineup if he's able to kind of hit like you guys envision him to?
Well, he hit really well in the preseason, and then when the season started, for whatever reason, I don't know if he was pressing, he just wasn't having quality at bats. His first, and I don't look into hits a whole lot because I'm watching the way the ball comes off the barrel, but when he hit the first home run at Coastal, his first hit of the year, that's the first ball he hit hard all season, like his 15th at bat. Had a couple walks in there, but just his at bats weren't great. So, and Coach Gautreau and Coach Packard had been working on him with some stuff, and just with his top hand and being stronger with his top hand, because he's a right-handed thrower, and he started to drive the ball better in BP and just make more like solid, real contact. So I'm happy for Mike. He's been working hard. He's had to buy his time, and definitely think you'll see him in there, more often if he keeps doing that.
You mentioned the three run rules, and obviously, eight runs on Sunday. Obviously, the home shutout on Saturday. With the offense right now, do you feel like it's almost like when you guys get the ball rolling, it's really special, and then at times maybe they start to press when things don't go well early in games? What do you feel like is kind of leading to that? Maybe some Jekyll and Hyde nature from the offense, and some of that is baseball, but just from a coach's perspective, to your opinion.
I think you should probably go on your message board and read all the stuff that these, gurus that have coached for a long time, that they have all their opinions. I think you probably should just take their advice, which I have no idea what they're saying. I'm being funny because I can only imagine what people that have no idea about the game of baseball are saying. It's multifaceted, in my opinion. I think you've got some guys that, when it's not going well, they're playing like they're in a straitjacket, they're life or death. I think you got some guys that mentally can get tired, and when it's not going well, can kind of fade. And then I think you got some guys that show up and compete every day. So we need our guys to have short memories and show up and compete one pitch at a time. And if it's not going good, find a way to get a guy to first base and just have quality at bats. And, it's the weirdest box score I've ever seen in my 23 years of coaching. We punched out 17, didn't walk or hit a guy. They punched us out 4 times, and they hit us twice in the 9th inning. If we get the bunt down and we score a run or two. Nobody's even talking about it. We just didn't execute in the clutch there late. And Grady is one of those guys that tries so hard. He's such a good player, and he wants it so bad. Sometimes that can work against him, but he's going to be able to do it next time. I have full belief in that.
Coach, obviously you mentioned the Sunday injuries and Jack Herring leaving the game after diving for a ball and Colby Weber going out. And just any update on those two guys? I know it's early on Monday, so maybe you don't have any official word, but any inkling on, kind of their status?
No more information than, they both came out of the game yesterday. So as the week unfolds, we'll have more information on both of them.
And Jack Vogeley, you said he was in a boot. How did that happen? Do you feel like that could be a short or long-term issue?
Well, he's got an extra bone in his foot that he's had his whole life, and it's never bothered him. I shouldn't say it's never bothered him to this level. And for some reason, all of a sudden, it's got extremely bad to where it's just hard for him to walk. So put him in a walking boot, thought that would help. But even that, still putting pressure. So yesterday we put him on crutches. So hopefully just getting the weight off that foot will help some. But he will see Dr. Hasty today, and we'll have more information on that as the week unfolds as well.
You also mentioned Peltier after the game. It sounds like he may be shut down at some point with the arm injury. And you don't hear too much about arm injury with the position players, but it appears that's, kind of bit him, unfortunately, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So he will have to have some sort of Tommy John surgery, whether it be the brace or the full one. But he has a couple more games where he could pinch run and stuff if we need him to, so that he can still have the medical red shirt.
Cliff Godwin with us on Monday and with our weekly chat. Coach, we talked about all the depth you guys have, and, man, y'all are obviously being tested, and this does give some opportunities for others to step up. So how much of that will be the kind of the message this week and has been for these guys to get their opportunity and step up in it?
Hey, I go tell everybody we're not going to complain about injuries. All these guys coming to my office, they want more playing time. Be careful what you ask for. You're about to get it. So go out there and perform at a high level. Do what you're supposed to do. Next man up mentality. That's the world I live in. Nobody feels sorry for us, and I damn sure don't feel sorry for anybody. So we're ready to go.
Pirates have a 4-game week. It'll be Elon on Tuesday. By the way, that first pitch moved up an hour to 5 o'clock, and then UAB coming in this weekend. Coach, wanted to ask about the weekend rotation. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Colby, and I know you guys will make a decision on that down the line. But Ethan, you said nobody works harder than Ethan Norby. How confident are you in him that he'll bounce back soon? And do you look at all at moving him and Gavin Van Kempen, swapping spots, or is that too early in the season to be kind of looking at that?
It's too early right now. I got confidence in Norbs. He's done it at a high level for a long time, and the game's testing him, as him and I talked yesterday. We do need to get his fastball command better, and he knows that. So they're going to work on that this week. It's going to open up everything else. So I've got 100% confidence in Norbs.
What did I ask you about Davin Whitaker? Listen to his post game. He sounds like a guy that you would love to coach. I mean, just the demeanor, the personality. He just seems to be fully bought into what you guys have taught him for going on now 3 years in the program. Just how much has he grown from day one as an ECU baseball player?
Well, I remember watching him at the state games years ago, and skinny, almost like baby deer, but there was something different about him. Of course, he hit left-handed, but there was a competitive spirit about that guy. And I'm called Jeff, and didn't really know what position he would be able to play. He actually is running a lot better probably than we ever anticipated. I mean, he could play all three outfield positions if you needed him to. He's a better runner than I think people think he is, just because he's so tall. Of course, he comes here, he redshirts, he gets some, spot starts last year, pinch hit opportunities, and he just keeps working. Had a good summer, has continued to get stronger, has worked with our strength coach, Thunder, and just done a tremendous job with his body, and he just works, and he's about the right stuff. He wants East Carolina to win. He doesn't complain about playing time. He just gets in there and battles when he gets the opportunity. And sometimes he'll overthink it, but man, you can lose with that guy. But like I said, what he said yesterday in the dugout at a time when there was some doubt because our nose was bloodied. Our Sunday starter goes down. Our leader, our 3-hole hitter, goes down. And he's just, hey, Carlos, you and I, man, we're going to get this thing going next inning. And we need more guys like that. And we're going to get more guys like that. So I'm just proud of Davin because he's about the right stuff.
A couple more things with Cliff Godwin on this Monday. And Parker Bird gets up his second career hit at William & Mary, Coach, and awesome moment. We couldn't see much video of it because there was no video stream, but just what was it like to see that, be a part of that?
It was awesome, and I had told Parker this the Thursday night at Coastal. His group was in the cages to end practice, and we were trying to get everybody together for the prayer. And him and AP were in the same group. And so about the left field line, Parker just starts taking off sprinting. And he's moving. And, I mean, AP, of course, ends up catching up to him. But he gets there, I'm like, P, man, you're moving, man. You're, like, getting it done. He was like, yeah, I've been working hard. But it wasn't an infield single, so to speak, but it was a chopper. And, man, he got down the line pretty good. So I was super happy for him and just the hope he provides to so many people every time he gets an opportunity. I'm so proud of him.
Last thing for you, Coach. Obviously, Elon on Tuesday. We're not looking past that, but we do know that conference play begins this weekend. And just, I know you guys want to be playing your best baseball going into conference play and throughout the remainder of the season. So how much are you looking forward to starting that journey of your season?
Excited. But like you said, we're worried about today, and then we'll get ready for Elon here tomorrow. As we know that if you don't show up, you'll get beat. I mean, Elon beat NC State 2-0. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, so we need to be ready to go tomorrow.
He is head coach Cliff Godwin. Coach, we appreciate the time, as always, on these Monday chats, man. Appreciate it, and we'll let you get back to it, but thanks as always.
All right. Thanks, Igo.
That's Cliff Godwin. We'll be right back on Hoist the Colors with more.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Get ready to board.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Third segment here. Appreciate Cliff Godwin for his time on the program. We'll continue to visit with him every Monday, and that's something he does basically on his own to talk ECU baseball. So always appreciate him for stepping up and wanting to share his message to us and the fans. Wanted to dive a little bit more into the injury situation for ECU baseball. Also want to give a shout out before I forget, and we'll try to circle back in our last segment. ECU softball wins 2 out of 3 at FAU, one of the best teams in the American. So they are off to a 4-2 start in conference play. Series wins over Wichita State, FAU. They go to Memphis this weekend. So we'll try to talk some more softball to close the show in our final segment. But that was a huge series win for Shane Winkler's team. And also I've got a bone to pick. Philip Pilkinen back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Not with Philip, but with the umpiring crew from yesterday's game. According to ECU.statbroadcast.com, home plate umpire Jeremy Crow, first base umpire Kirk Dominic, second base umpire Freddie Rivera, third base umpire Sean Cassidy, for quite possibly the worst replay review I've ever seen in my many times watching baseball. Somebody pointed out in the chat, it was Brian, can calls be sent in for review like in football? That out call on Braden Burris was terrible. I mean, they looked at the replay for 3 to 5 minutes where it clearly showed that there was no tag. Braden was in safely before he was tagged in the helmet or the nose, which caused him to have a bloody nose, and they stuck with the call. I mean, why do we even have replay review if there's clear 100% evidence? We take 5 minutes to look at it, and we still can't make the right call, Philip. This is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. This is garbage.
Look, it's bad. It definitely is bad. The only thing, so me and Malcolm and Joanne looked at it in the press box, the only thing that we came to the conclusion of is you technically could not see. It was a really bad angle on the left arm, and I don't think he touched his left arm, but when he swiped, could the tip of the glove grazed Braden's left arm? There was no angle that was low enough to show whether or not there was any room between the left arm and the glove. Like I said, I don't think he touched it, but maybe that's where they got the gray area. But I still think, like we were talking about, it's like, you know, technically it does have to be indisputable, but I mean, that's as damn close to indisputable as you're going to get without having like a camera that is like literally 6 inches off the ground, and you can like, at that point, why are we reviewing any tags at second base is the point. Like, he didn't touch his arm.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like watching it, I felt pretty confident there was no touch. And I mean, maybe like a graze you could make an argument for, but you'd be reaching, in my opinion. Because I feel like I could see daylight in between. And two, there was no, like, the glove never shifted or anything as a result of, obviously, the contact, which maybe it wouldn't if there was just a graze. But, I mean, come on, man. Like, let's not make it harder than it is. Let's just call him safe.
Well, I mean,
he was safe.
Braden was signaling.
Yeah. As soon as he touched the bag.
I think he was signaling before he even stood up. I mean, he was like there. He saw the umpire call out, and like as he's like going to push it up, he ends up like his hands go from the ground to his head immediately, and he kind of like uses his legs to get him the rest of the way up. Like, and Cliff didn't even like hesitate to ask for a review. That's how you, like, he would have known if it got his arm. He wouldn't have been that adamant if he got his arm. Like, let's be honest. Like, use your head. This is the thing's 3 feet above your ass, as Coach Dugan says, and don't cry about it because there's no crying in baseball.
Ryan says if the call had been safe on the field, it would have stayed as well. Didn't have the camera view to say 100% he wasn't tagged. Just strong assumption. I feel like I saw that he was not tagged, but that's just one man's opinion. I did post it on Instagram and Twitter because I felt like calling out the umpires. And I mean, I'm not even assuming. I'm going to say, based on video evidence, he was not tagged. And that's just my opinion. I guess you could make a .001 90% assumption that he was tagged. I don't know. But anyways, ECU won the game. Should have been a 3-run jack for Jack Herring. Instead, it was only a 2-run. Or was that the Davin Whitaker homer? I don't even know. Either way, I think it was the Jack homer. Either way, Pirates, they found a way to win. It didn't cost them the game. All right, injury situation. Injuries are starting to pile up for this team. We've talked about it before with Cliff Godwin. We've talked about it without Cliff Godwin. He's not going to make excuses. And that's something I've always respected about, his coaching style. They could be down there to, 9 players, and he wouldn't make excuses, even though, in reality, injuries do affect sports teams. And it's starting to affect ECU. So we can talk about it because we're not inside the locker room, Philip. And look, I'm just going to assume we don't have any factual information. I am going to make an assumption that Colby Weber is going to miss at least a fairly significant amount of time based on how he reacted. Not saying he's going to have Tommy John or anything, but just like typically when a pitcher leaves like that, he's going to miss a while. So let's assume he's out of the rotation a while. Let's assume Jack Herring at least misses a week or two, separated shoulder. We don't have an extent. I mean, that could be anything from a couple of days, a week to, maybe something more severe. So we don't know. But let's just assume that both these guys are out a while. Vogely, it sounds like he's going to miss some time, but he could be back soon. So we know Braxton Trammell's out. We know Alex Peltier can't hit, can't throw. So we assume he's out outside of pinch running, and he will be officially out soon. So that's 4 or 5 guys you're going for without injuries. That's not even counting guys like Gabe Beschloss who already are out with injuries from the offseason. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Let's start with the rotation. Ethan Norby, it sounds like, will stick on Friday for now, and then Gavin Van Kempen on Saturday. What do the Pirates do with Sunday? I'll let you throw out a potential synopsis first, and then I'll give my take. How are you feeling on which way maybe they go with Sunday with conference play now here?
I like Antolik. It hasn't been as good, I think, as we want it to be, but, from what we understand, for him to throw, he's got to, if they get him hot, they've got to throw him. And I think, even yesterday, he got hot and was ready to go in, and then ECU had a long inning at the plate before he threw his first official pitches. I think when he starts and he knows exactly, 2 hours out, especially in a home game, I am exactly 2 hours from towing the rubber. I am exactly 1 hour. I'm exactly 30 minutes. I'm exactly 15 minutes from towing the rubber. Those are the best outings he's had, and he's pitched really well in those. It's been when it's hey, he goes down there, gets loose, and then ECU scores 4 runs, and then he's kind of standing down at the gate doing this number, or the guy stays in longer than we thought he was going to. That's when he struggled. So, look, I don't think it's the best option, but I think it's the best way you get the most out of Antolik. And he's probably only going to get you 3 innings, but if you can pair him, and then you go Towers, at least you got a lefty-righty deal there, and then, I don't know, Rose, maybe that can kind of be your Sunday deal when you try and get 3 innings out of all those guys. And then, Sean Jenkins, if you got to throw him back out there, you can. But I definitely don't want to see Jenkins as a starter, man. Jenkins is in his element right now, and he's pitching really well.
The other thing for me is and maybe Joe Webb is becoming that guy. He threw 3 times this week, which was a lot, and I think it showed on Sunday. But I just want that stopper. Whenever the first jam of the game of the weekend comes up, I want to be able to go to the guy out of the bullpen. And I like Sean Jenkins in that role. And to me, the only way I take Sean Jenkins out of that role is if either Joe Webb becomes, one of the best pitchers on the staff consistently week in, week out, and you trust him in that spot, or if you get to the point where you got to move Norby to the bullpen, maybe he becomes that stopper, and then you move Jenkins into rotation. I just want one elite reliever, for the toughest spot of a weekend series. And so that's kind of how I would approach it. Maybe the staff feels differently. For now, if it's me, which it's not, and I don't know who really cares about my opinion on it, but I would leave Sunday TBA and just go game to game. And then knowing that you kind of have some options, and Tolik, as you mentioned, I do like your point about, he knows if he gets hot, he's going in the pitch. And obviously as a starter, that would seem to fit his scenario a little bit more. The thing that worries me about Antolik is he's got a really good fastball slider, but he doesn't really seem to have a pitch to combat lefties as well right now. And he struck out 16 against 3 walks in 10 innings. He's also given up 16 hits and 3 home runs. So it's almost like he gets a K or hard contact or a wild pitch. Like there's no ball that's being like hit into play that's an out. It's either like a hit or a strikeout. It's kind of crazy. But it's a small sample size too, and I think his best ball's at him. So I would consider Antolik. I like Towers, and then you kind of like I'm waiting. Moran could start. He has a starting background. Saccone has not really done anything to this point. Do you look at giving him a Sunday shot or a midweek start? I mean, I just feel like they need some. This gives an opportunity for a guy like Frank Saccone, who was a Friday night guy at St. Joe's last year. He's going to have to step up, in my opinion, to help offset this. So you do have options, Philip. It's just that, I just don't know if there's a easy answer.
Yeah, I don't think there is. Yeah, I like the Saccone idea too, at least, considering it. The thing is with Moran, man, I think he's the lefty I trust the most right now out of the pen. And that's kind of my issue with, hey, he's our Sunday starter. I just think if you pencil him in there, there could be some times on Friday or Saturday where you really feel like we need Nick Moran right now. So that's my issue with him is, I don't know. I don't want him bogged down. But if you do, like you said, if you go TBD and, hey, we haven't used Moran, let's run him out there and start him. That I'd be cool with. But, yeah, I mean, I want him available. Right now, I mean, because I'll be honest with you, he's up there with Jenkins for me is, the number 2 guy probably right now. I mean, there's definitely Jenkins is better, but he's probably my number 2 guy in the pen right now that I trust the most other than Sean Jenkins.
And then on the position player standpoint, obviously, if Herring's out, that probably means more playing time for Whitaker. I think we're going to see more Hakame at second, maybe more Boucher at second as well. Although he's not necessarily a natural second baseman, he can play it. Hakame at second, which would move Burris out to left, maybe more Whitaker and right. You also have Saviter. Obviously Peltier going to be down. And then, do we see more Michael Kalinic at DH? It's not ideal to DH your backup catcher, but you do at least have Blade Carver who can catch as your third catcher. And then, Vogely, we'll see what happens, but you also have Braden Bachman. You've got some other guys as well that could profile as a DH-type bat, depending on what happens with Herron's timeline. And, again, you have options here, and this may just be a case of who's hot, who's not, as far as who replaces him.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you want, Hakame to play to his potential because I think he can be a really good second baseman. Keep Boucher in that DH role. But, I mean, I'm cool with, with Boucher getting some PT in the field, too. Kalinic, man, yeah, I just don't know if they trust Blade Carver enough right now to put Kalinic in that DH role. It's hard. I mean, you never see the backup catcher be the DH. There is one time in all the baseball I've ever followed, the only time I've ever seen it been done was Ryan McChrystal. And the only reason Ryan McChrystal did it is because of how much Cliff Godwin trusted Walker Barron if something were to happen to J-Dub. They trusted Barron as a freshman to go back there. So that's the only reason. And I don't think they trust Blade Carver that much.
Yeah, and maybe you just take that risk of if something happens to Barron, you got to put Kalinic in as the catcher and lose the DH. All right, we got to get a break in. We'll come back. We'll close the show. ECU softball talk. They win a big series at FAU. We'll do that on the other side.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cook-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to hoist the colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Again, final segment here. Time to vote on our last segment. Spencer Scott asking, was Frank Saccone the Friday starter at St. Joe's, or am I not remembering correctly? You are right, Spencer. That was the case. And he agrees with going TBA on Sunday for now and let the matchups kind of dictate who pitches in those games as far as ECU starting rotation. Philip Pilkington rejoins us. Pirates softball with a massive series win at FAU. The Pirates have played FAU really good in recent years, one of the better teams in the league. They were the preseason favorites in the conference. Pirates go to Boca, take 2 out of 3. They lose the opening game 10-1. It was closer than the score indicated. Was 3-1 going into the 6th, gave up a 7 spot. Come back on Saturday, win a doubleheader. Julia Apostolakos. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Apostolakos.
Okay. You're doing the PA for softball, so I figured you would know every now and then. And then she goes complete game, win. 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 run allowed. Pirates win it 3-1, and then they win the second game of the doubleheader 3-2, hold off a late comeback. Taylor Apple was great in that one. So Sydney Rainford's been good, and now you get Apple and Apostolakos going too. This was a huge series win for the Pirates.
It was a huge series win, and the crazy thing is I want to say they had a double in the 7th inning of the last game. I think they did. But if they didn't, I knew coming into that inning, in the doubleheader, they had not had a double or a triple or a home run. They were piecing singles together. Look, man, this just God-given talent-wise is not a phenomenal roster. But I tell you, Shane Winkler is a damn good coach, and every single girl in that dugout is bought in. They are gritty. They are tough mentally and physically. Like, they are playing better, I think, than their God-given talent that they were granted when they were born. Like, they are playing above their potential right now. Like, I was so proud of them, and I watched both those games on Saturday. Like, this is just a gritty team.
ECU has 2 series coming up at Memphis and against UAB, against the 2 teams that are 0-6 in the league thus far. The Pirates 4-2 with series wins over Wichita and FAU, 2 of the better teams projected coming into the season in the league. So they're off to a good start, and if they can stack some wins, they can make a move up these standings. So we'll be keeping tabs on Shane Winkler's club in the weeks ahead. All right, we got to get out of here tomorrow. We'll talk more ECU baseball, preview the Elon game. We'll also get into our March Madness picks, start breaking that down as well. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon on HTC.